Breaking tonight in Birmingham, chaos, fire and disbelief. What began as a football match outside Villa Park ended as a city under siege. Flares lit the sky. Police lines fractured. 700 officers from 25 forces deployed, yet control never arrived. 6 arrests made. 1 woman dragged away for waving an Israeli flag. The world watched live as sport became siege and Britain became spectacle. Nigel Farage warned of this months ago. We've lost control of our streets. Now even the police admit containment has failed. Prime Minister Starmer calls it leadership, but Britain, the country that gave the world football, can't even govern its own pitch. The numbers expose the story. 12 intelligence alerts ignored, £2.3 million in security spent, nothing solved. The Home Secretary was at a gala, the Deputy Prime Minister unreachable. Downing Street waited 9 hours before speaking. 40 seconds of reassurance, 0 accountability. 68% of Britons now believe the government has lost control. 17% still trust the police. The rest trust no one. Farage didn't wait for calm, he went live. This isn't leadership, he said. It's surrender in slow motion. 3 million views in 2 hours. Westminster called him divisive. The public called him right. Britain once ruled order itself. Now it can't enforce it. Intelligence ignored. Warnings buried. Streets burning. Yet officials still call it manageable. The system didn't collapse. It froze. Power without action isn't government. It's theatre, and the curtain just fell. By dawn, police lines had become smoke and echoes. Birmingham locked down. Manchester followed. In London, riot shields replaced traffic signs. The Home Office called it contained unrest. The footage said otherwise. Flares, fists, fire, 80 arrests, 30 injured. 1 officer hospitalised. The cost of leadership written in broken helmets and burned vans. Markets opened lower. GDP forecasts slashed. Insurers pulled coverage from city events. Temporary instability, Treasury claimed, but the numbers looked permanent. Confidence fell faster than sterling. Farage's words echoed through Parliament Square. When the people no longer fear authority, authority ceases to exist. His broadcast spread across 1,000 live streams. The government spoke with unity, but unity means nothing when no one listens. This wasn't protest anymore, it was revelation. The mask ripped off a government that had already lost control. Within hours, the military was placed on standby, not for war abroad, but order at home. Helicopters circled Birmingham. Leaked documents used new language. Potential loss of civil control. Markets crashed again. The pound sank below 1.20. Foreign investors fled. Britain wasn't a market anymore. It was a warning. Farage went live again. When government fears its citizens, democracy dies. 40 countries streamed his words. Downing Street stayed silent. And silence became policy. The state hadn't fallen, it had disconnected. A machine still humming after the power was cut. Trust vanished. Insurers suspended coverage. Banks limited withdrawals. 90 council offices closed. 72% of Britons stopped believing official statements. 43% of officers said they would disobey protest orders. Leadership turned to performance. Committees replaced courage. Apologies became ritual. The word reform appeared in 19 press releases, none with meaning. Farage's 6 words cut through the noise. You can't govern what you don't understand. The most replayed line since lockdown. Abroad, it was called the British fracture. At home, people stopped asking when it would end and started asking what would remain. Power didn't vanish. It drifted away from buildings back to the people who gave it meaning. But the people had stopped listening. Westminster reopened under floodlights and rifles. Soldiers guarded democracy from its own citizens. Starmer entered to polite applause in a half-empty chamber. Outside, jeers drowned out the anthem. He promised strength through order. Farage called it panic through weakness. For once, Parliament agreed on something, the phrase loss of control. Resignations followed. One commissioner, 2 ministers, 3 aides. Each letter read the same. The system no longer functions. The markets didn't crash. They adjusted, as if collapse had already been priced in. Abroad, headlines called it the empire's mirror. The nation that exported stability now imported unrest. Farage's final line turned from speech to scripture. If you can't protect truth, you don't deserve power. 48 hours, trending, no rebuttal. Only silence, only reflection. Across Britain, cities glowed with candlelight. Veterans stood beside nurses. Teenagers carried torches across Westminster Bridge. No chants, no banners, just quiet reckoning. Drone footage showed lines of light across the island.